Ma'am, my wonderful colleague, teaching staff, and dear students. Today is the third day of our 3-day multidisciplinary workshop on women achievers, creating history, nourishing present, and building future. I warmly welcome you all. Women are the epitome of strength, love, sacrifice, and courage. A woman does not only bring competition into the work field, but also help in the collaboration of ideas and execute teamwork correctly. They help in bringing a perspective that values an open economy, modern and social system. The role of women in today's world has changed significantly and for better. Women are now self sufficient, well aware, and financially independent. They have attained immense success in every field, whether it's sports, politics, or academics. Today's women are adored with patience and uh, uh, with patience, which has helped them to attain the pinnacle of success. Today's women aren't just balancing a lot, they're even planning big things for future generations. Just to start with this workshop, we are basically introducing you very eminent or the women who have actually contributed in some way or the other to our success, and they are the one who are actually helping our youth to even move forward in this direction. May I please request Principal Ma'am, Professor Dr. Harpreet Kaur, to kindly say a few words and welcome our speakers for today's session. Thank you, ma'am, for being here with us. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Uh, in this session, the final session for the workshop, that is of 3-day workshop, we have invited Ms. Pooja Hazari, Ms. Manu, and Preeti Tanwar, as told by Pooja. And I suppose this panel seems to be very interesting because they all are from different walks of life, and one is a sports person, and one is CEO of a company, and the other one is a researcher. So varied fields we are trying to cover, and this is to guide the students so that they are they are actually they think about what is going to happen in the future, and they take examples from these successful women, and they or try to become like them or learn something from their life, because their life has been exemplary. Not to say that it is not so easy to succeed. You have to work very hard for it, and you ought to overcome various difficulties which are coming in your path, and that is why it is important that you learn from the examples of these women, and so that you are more motivated to dream and to take up leadership roles. And leadership, as I understand, is not a person or not a position. It is a complex relationship with the people. It is based on trust, obligation, commitment, emotion, and a shared vision for good. So if I can take my team along, and if I can take my near all the people who are close to me along with me, then I can assume the leadership. And not to say that your family members are also important in it, that they have a vital role to play. So you have to get along with everybody, and you have to balance your life, and I think then success will come. So this is a complex moral relationship, that you are morally responsible to each person in your life. That is your own family members, maybe your children, your all other family members, but at the same time, leadership basically is an experience. You have to understand, it is not that it will come falling down and you learn certain parameters and that will come so naturally. It's not like that. You have to build on it. And I really see a lot of hope as far as the women leaders are concerned, because the new leadership in women is very vocal. They are, of course, questioning the inegalitarian social structure. which is there prevalent is not only our society but in many other even in the West. It is not so easier. It is easier said than what is prevalent there. So egalitarian structures have to end before we start any type of equality norms as far as the women are concerned. They are against patriarchy, of course, because patriarchy is again bringing about one-sided approach to things, and that is what is questioned by the new leaders. They are against gender stereotyping also, and I see certain welcome ads also, very different kind of ads. And this in Corona period, there was one ad. I think there's one ad, we must have seen this. This is a lady doctor, and the all people are there at home, and she is working, and the husband is cooking also, and all the family members are appreciating her role, even despite that it's her birthday, but they are looking forward that she might come home, and they are also okay if she might not be able to come home. So this is a kind of stereotyping which those roles are being questioned, and a change is there. A welcome change we are seeing on the screen also, and in the society as well. Now, this new leadership also assert their rights. We know our rights. Firstly, is we have to know the rights. If we know the rights, then we can assert them. So, knowledge about rights is most important. And host of these kind of webinars, which we are organizing for the students, it's basically that you know about your rights, and then only you can assert your rights if they are broken, but don't assert them unnecessarily. I mean, that is also an incorrect approach, but you have to have a balance. Then women today are also open about their own problems. It can be any type of problems, your mental problems, your psychological problems, even physical problems, and so many other problems which are there, because we have different kind of problems. But women don't hide. Earlier things were hidden, but now we are trying to be more open, more vocal about it, because until and unless we speak out, these things will not be sorted out. In order to sort out the things, it is important that we should speak more and more, and be more vocal about it, and also create a kind of a following for it, that this is my problem, and then these similar problems must be there with others also. So we come together as a group, and then we try to solve those problems and question those, and build a public opinion against them. The women, present women leaders are also professionally qualified. They can be in any field, but they are taking their profession very seriously, and they are qualified also. They want to pursue their studies to the higher extent. Not to say that it's so easy, because it might not be so easy also, because sometimes there are family pressures. It's not only in the rural areas where they do not get ample opportunities to educate themselves, but also in the urban areas, where, or even in the elite class, where women are supposed to quit their professional and their education and profession also, to be just a housewife because of the demand of the maybe family, or status of the family, and so on. So these kind of problems are there, but you have to question yourself and find the right balance. They are competent also, and they are part of the labor pool, and so in they are a part of the labor pool, and they are doing quite many things. There have been women CEOs who have been working so hard, taking their team along, and doing commendable work. So that is why we have to understand this, with this positivity kind of a thing, which I believe that women are coming forward, and they can also project their self-esteem, confidence, and a positive image of women is there in the society. Because of good decision making capabilities they have informed choices about their own health, their own employment, their own education, and education of your children. So all these things are a part of you are, because you are alert and awakened about this. So that is why things are becoming positive. So what I believe is that women should be very conscious about their health. Health, of course, fitness is a part of it. But mental health, that vibrancy, that positivity, that is also equally important. Don't let the downsides really depress you. You have to overcome it, and you have to come out of it. And positivity in your approach is most important. Everyone's life is not so easy. There are so many problems. But if you take the negativity, that negativity will thrive in all your endeavors. So just don't stick to that negativity. Also, psychological health is also very important. That what actually you want, you don't know what you want and what you are aspiring for. Be clear that this is my own aim, this is my focus. And if these things are clear, you sort out your own problems, that is your own house is in order, your own thinking capabilities are in order, then I think you can be productive. Until unless you are not clear with yourself, I don't think so you can really be of any help. And derive small happiness out of your even your housework. I think daily chores of the house also give you certain kind of happiness. After cooking something, or cleaning the house, maybe that small pleasures are derived in that also. Happiness out of your work, your productivity, that how productive you have been, and you take pride in your work. This is what I have done professionally today, and I have not, they might not be big giant leaps always, they can be small things also, that at least I have justified today's work, that kind of a thing. So be happy, derive happiness from small things, and share your accomplishment with others. You can share with your peer group that this is what I've done, and you can share with your family members small things, and these things will enlighten you and make you so happy. So what I want is that women and these we should be more adaptable to change. And we cannot change until unless we are not aware of our surroundings. And once we are aware that this change is imperative, I think we cannot help but change. So we will ultimately change, because and change others, the change the environment around us also, because we know that this is important. This change is very important. And I really wish that my young women who are there, a part of this group, they will be heard, they will be heeded in the future in all what they do, and they will remain focused and derive all happiness in life out of satisfaction, and out of their work, out of their family and moral relationships, and so on. And for this, I think few prescriptions have been given by so many other women who have addressed you, and you have learned also so many other things. And even if you have small takeaways from this workshop, I think it is going to be a big giant step. So wishing you all the best in the future, and the students, and so that you aspire to become something, whatever you want in life, you aspire and you get that. And with these words, I also want to congratulate the entire team, all the departments who have clubbed together, and they have designed this workshop in a very interesting manner, and it has become really interesting. So and I'm sure that all of you is really are really enjoying this workshop. So and once again, I welcome all the speakers for this occasion also. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for being with us today. And we sincerely appreciate your encouragement and words of wisdom to both our speakers and our participants. And personally, thank you, ma'am, for sharing that happiness doesn't depend on situations. We have to create them. And even day-to-day activities can make us happy and enjoy those activities. That personally I felt was very nice thing, nice thought which you had shared with us. And even for the students, that surely this workshop is going to motivate them and encourage them to take a right path in their career and even in their life. Thank you so much, ma'am, for these words. May I now request Dr. Lakshmi Watts to introduce our first speaker for today's workshop, Dr. Pooja Hazare. Ma'am, over to you.
Yes, yes, Pooja. Thank you, Pooja. Ladies, gentlemen, faculties, students, and all other present here, I wish you all a very refreshing good afternoon. On behalf of everyone, I once again tender a hearty welcome to our esteemed and learned speaker, Dr. Pooja Hazari, to grace the multidisciplinary workshop on women's achievers being organized in our college. Of relevance is the theme of workshop, which reads Creating History, Nourishing Present, and Building Future. Dr. Hazari is a graduate of Botany Honours, pursued biomedical sciences for her master's and PhD degrees. A blossom scientist, she specializes in bioconjugate chemistry, preclinical imaging, drug design and development, which are beyond the grasp of many of us. Commencing as a research associate at the Indian Council of Medical Research, New Delhi, she is presently Scientist F and Joint Director at the prestigious Institute of Nuclear Medicine and Allied Sciences, DRDO, Delhi. There is a long list of awards, honors, and recognitions accorded to her. Catch them young scholarship to winning best paper presentation awards year after year is just a beam of light on her competence and confidence to excel in her chosen subjects. Her writings and her involvements with projects like radionuclides and clinical applications have made timeless contribution in the field of nuclear medicine and biomedical sciences. Some of our completed projects are INM 319, 2015 to 2018, Life Sciences Young Scientist Project, Center for Soldier Assist System for Difficult Areas. Indo-Swiss Translation Molecular Imaging of NET using innovative PET radionuclides. And INMAS Samir 99 MTC production and clinically assess novel 99 MTC radio labeled analogs, which is ongoing. Her assignments are amino acid based neuroagents for clinical applications and to study the long term effects of MTBI serotonergic receptors through imaging modalities. Jointly or singly, theory or practice, Dr. Hazari's work reveals her constantly active quest to seek and share knowledge. Her own creation, Indian Society of Nanomedicine, is a testimony to that. And her 54 IF greater than 3 book chapter 1 MICAD molecules 5 publications are a part of science archives and her gateway to the Women's Hall of Fame. Alongside, I deem it apt to make a brief mention of two more exceptional women who deserve to be in the Women's Hall of Fame. I am privileged to know them personally. Mrs. Padma Bandhopadhyay, only woman to have become an air marshal in the history of Indian Air Force. She is a doctor. Second, known to everyone here is our honorable principal, Professor Harpreet Kaur. The volume, variety, and value of her publication relating to multifarious issues existing in the contemporary times are already a part of intellectual archive. As a result, Dr. Harpreet Kaur enjoys an academic stature that is much taller than her physical stature. Madam Hazari, with great admiration, I say and submit, your presence amidst us has coronated today's workshop, rightly titled Women Achievers. Before I conclude, I express my sincere gratitude to a learned faculty of our college and everyone's friend, Dr. Pooja Vadhavan, Department of Psychology, for granting me the privilege to address you all. Thank you all. Now, I invite Dr. Hazari to express her views on Doctor of Philosophy, a journey from medical aspirant to a researcher. Please welcome Dr. Pooja Hazari. Over to you, ma'am. Ma'am Pooja Hazari.
Can we unmute her?
Ma'am, I think she has left.
She's there. She's
Please,
there.
ma'am.
She's by the name of Sharanya Hazari.
Sharanya
Okay.
Hajari.
Yes.
Yes.
So unmute her.
Earlier, she joined with 2 devices.
Okay. Miss Hazari, you can open. Yeah.
Oh, very good evening to all of you and namaskar. I'm very much delighted, and I'm so some nostalgic things are happening in my brain right now after listening to such a modest introduction by ma'am. Thank you so much for such a nice and modest introduction. So I can always talk about the brain and the science and everything, but right now this is a platform where all of us are together, and all the women. We are talking about the women empowerment. I've heard Dr. Harpreet Kaur. She's mesmerizing, ma'am. You're mesmerizing. Your words of wisdom are really motivating. You are yourself is a big motivator for all of us. So I feel really motivated after listening to you. So with the presentation, I would like to share the screen. Is it possible to share my screen now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can.
Dr. Hemlata, you will be having my presentation. Could you please open from your screen?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Sangeeta?
Just give me. Yes,
Yeah,
give me a minute, please.
So here I'll be talking about Doctor of Philosophy. So being a science, science student, and I have a degree of Doctor of Philosophy. What does it mean to me? A Doctor of Philosophy, my journey from medical aspirant to a researcher. It has been immense because when you are, in undergraduate, you set your career goals. You want to become something in your career, and then I wanted to become a neurosurgeon at that time when I was doing my graduation. So, and I was like so passionate about, I have to be a neurosurgeon at any cost. I want to study a lot. I used to study a lot for them, I have to get into the medical entrance test and all. So I always used to think that, no, this is my passion, this is my goal, this is my career goal, I have to be. So the thing was that I was not able to crack the medical entrance test, and that was a very at that time it was a very bad thing happened to me. I thought this is the end of the world. I don't deserve to be on live on this earth. So it was like that I what I have done, I'm not able to crack the medical entrance test. How bad I am at studies. So these kind of things, all kind of these kind of emotions were juggling in my mind. And then again, so my father, he came with a big scenery, and there's a horse on it, I still remember, and it was like, be bold in what you stand for. So I was so happy that he encouraged me to one more time you attempt for the medical entrance test. If you're so there's nothing is going to happen, you just attempt one more time. Then again, so I did botany honors. I want to tell you that why I have taken botany honors was, only have to give one main exam and one subse exam to clear the first year. So this was my criteria to take botany honors in my graduation. So I took that, like botany. I only have to study for one subject and one subse, and that's it. So I was thoroughly preparing. I was in Sri Venkateshwara College, and I was thoroughly preparing for my medical entrance. My professor used to tell me, are you sure you'll be able to make it into the medical entrance text the second time? So yes, sir. I used to say the professor, yes, sir, I am going to do it because my rank was not very bad on the first attempt. So I'm going to do it. So they were very happy and also very that what she's going to do. She's always, studying for the medical exam and not studying the botany honors. So finally, then again I attempted, and again I failed. I failed. I did not get through medical entrance test again. So it was really bad on my part again. And you can see first time, okay, my father was there, and then he picked me up and said, no, nothing will go wrong. Now you study more, and then you'll get through. And again on the second attempt, I could not get through that exam. So I was like, now I got into depression. Like it was a big thing for me. Oh no, what I have done. I have to be neurosurgeon, and now what I'm going to do. So then finally, I slowly I came over my depression. I gave my second year exams. I got good 70% marks in my second year exams. My professors were very happy, but they were not very that now again she want to attempt for the medical entrance test, and then again she's going to do something or the other. And this one incident I remember, for when I was attempting my second year exam. My subse exam was there for the chemistry, and I was taking this medical capsule course. So and I reached there at 7 in the morning for my coaching. So there also there is one professor from some college, and he was teaching me, and his, Pooja, why are you here? Today is your chemistry exam. And how do you know, sir? I'm a professor. I know. Go and give your exam. Are you sure you're going to get through the medical entrance? Go and give the exam. No, I'm not going to go, sir. I have not prepared for chemistry. I was studying for the cell biology, and that day it was a chemistry exam. So but my professor, the coaching professor, he just sent me. I called my father. He dropped me at the center, Sri Venkateshwar College, and I was like, what I'm going to write in the exam? I was reading all night for cell biology. So but I was able to pass in my chemistry exam that day. I thank to professor. I was promoted to the second year, because if I have not given that exam that day, I would not have promoted to the next year. So then after that, when I came out of my depression and all, and then I have no goal. Actually, I have no career goal. I was like, let's see whatever happens, and whatever came will come, I'll see. So then the good thing happened was the MSc entrance test for MSc, Master of Science, Biomedical Sciences. So I feel that whatever you acquire, your knowledge never goes wasted. So that the preparation for my medical entrance test, I was able to crack MSc Biomedical Sciences. Then I am a part of the Ambedkar Center for Biomedical Research, MSc. So there I got my admission in biomedical sciences. Then again, I did not have any career goal, or I never thought of becoming a researcher. Then I went on to doing some project at INMAS, Institute of Nuclear Medicine and Allied Sciences. And that too, I was so apprehended that I don't want to go at INMAS. I don't know where it is. It is from, so one of my professors said, you go, you will enjoy the work there, and then you will, after working there, you tell us if you don't like it. Then I went for the research work there, and there I discovered my passion for science, my passion for research. So I would say, at that period of time, when in my first year of my post graduation, during my MSc, I discover myself. I would say that I discover myself that yes, this is I want to do. This is my passion. Research is my passion. After that, there is no looking back. First, we'll go to the next slide, please. So here, because we are into a multidisciplinary platform today. So science, I would say, in its original concept, is at the service of humanities. What I think, the left brain, if you will see in this pictorial, you can see the control, the science, the analytics, but the other part of the brain, the love, the freedom, the passion, the creativeness, the yearning, the peace, where it comes from. The value and ethical principle of a society are shaped by history, philosophy, art, language, literature, and of course, by science. And its study is very important to get to know ourselves as individuals and as a society. Humanities empowers with a more plural, more alternative, more inaccurate or accurate and wider knowledge, which helps us develop skills that allow us to empathize with other human beings and let us have a more global view of problems we have to face in our lives and work. So, next slide, please. So here the Doctor of Philosophy, like it is very, PhD stands for Doctor of Philosophy, which is the abbreviation of the Latin word. Philosophy, doctor. Philosophy here refers to original Greek word known as philo, or the lover of Sophia is the wisdom, lover of wisdom. Next slide. So here, when I decided that I just told you my story that I wanted to be a medical aspirant, I want to be a neurosurgeon, but then I went to INMAS in my post-graduation. I discovered myself. I wanted to be a researcher, and I really enjoy what I do today. So to change your life, you need to change your priorities. In my case, setting career goals, it never materialized. But yeah, after changing the priorities, yes, after thinking that yes, I can indirectly help the doctors if I do research, then also I'll be contributing to the nation, to the society, and to the individualistic approach as well. So to change your life, you need to change your priorities. Next slide, please. So as a researcher, when you become very passionate, you become you want that you want to do this, then you excel yourself. You don't have to make some breakthroughs. They come automatically to you. So when you become a researcher, then you are passionate about it, you are doing some research, then it comes automatically. As a researcher, I got best paper presentation, catch them young scholarship, and it has I have not never thought of that I'll be getting this and I'll be getting this and I'll be getting that. Only thing that I was concentrating on the subject that I found that is my passion, and I have to excel in that one. So to know that this is the spark, whenever you know that this is your spark, and you follow that spark and you excel in that field, then world is yours. I think nobody can beat you in that one. So apart from setting career goals, you should discover yourself also. You should meet yourself also, what I want, what I need, what I want to pursue, where I'm going to excel. So that is the main thing, that is take you to the greater heights, rather than listening to some other buddy and another person, or something that now you do this. So you're trying to do this and you're trying to do that, but you're not trying to do what you want. So for me, it's like you have to see your spark, where you can excel, and it will definitely, you're going to be at the summit. Next slide, please. So this is the description of what I do. Now I have the expertise, acquired expertise. It's not the expertise that I go and it has been given to me. No, I have acquired this expertise to label any molecule of interest, write the sequence for labeling, and to guide different centers in India. So here I'm making the drug molecule, I'm making, and it is going into the clinical trials. that is for me is satisfaction. If I'm not getting any award, is not a it does not make any difference. But whatever I'm making for the humankind, and it is accepted by the society, it is being utilized in the clinics, is gives me a lot of satisfaction. So this is my area where I get satisfied when my drug get into the humans. Next slide, please. So we also, do some innovation. There is one, my young scientist project was there where, we have to do some innovations to protect warfighter and improve his performance. But I certainly think that without humanities and psychologies, we cannot do the cognitive enhancement of a soldier or improved their, performance. We need a psychologist, we need humanities, we need human touch to improve their performance. We can augment him, we can augment a soldier, we can augment him or her, but we cannot play with the brain. We cannot improve the cognitive performance. So psychology and humanities is really required in the medical field. Next slide, please. So I will be boasting that yes, this is the first molecule which first in the country at NMAS, fluoroethyl tyrosine. This we have made, and this was the first PET MR study in the country. We only have PET MR, 2 PET MR center, one at Apollo Hospital and other one is at NIMHANS. So I can boast all these things that yes, I have we have done the imaging, we have done the PET MR, and we are very happy also that yes, the drug is going at the right place where we want it, in the brain. But at the same time, if you think about, the patient or the clinical subject, what she might be thinking, what she might be, growing with the idea, what exactly is there in her brain. I got a poem from Julia Darling, Chemotherapy, from her book, Sudden Collapse in Public Places. I did not imagine being bald at 44. I didn't have a plan. Perhaps a scar or two from growing old, hot flushes. I'd sit, fluttering a fan, but I'm bald and hardly ever walk by day. I'm invalid of these rooms, stirring soups, awake in the half dark, not answering the phone when it rings. I never thought that life could be this small, that I would care so much about a cup, the taste of tea, the texture of a shawl, and whether or not I should get up. I'm not happy. I have learned to drift and sip. So this, I think, when a person undergoes chemotherapy, we can see by the imaging modalities, we can see what is happening in the brain at the molecular level. We can treat at the molecular level. But what about the psychological level? When we are doing the scanning, what the patient was thinking, whether she or he will survive or not, when he is under the scanner or she is under the scanner, what she'll be thinking. So how they're going to response to a chemotherapy is also psychologically driven. So psychology is very important part in neurodegenerative disorders. Psychology is very, very important when trying to do some kind of therapy on a patient. So if you're feeling very depressed, and chemotherapy also don't work. So we need psychologists. We really need them to take care of the patient, and maybe then the prognostic or the prognosis will be much better of any kind of disease, I think. So here is I find that there is a connection between humanities and science, giving a human touch to the science, which I found the interconnecting link between these two fields. Next slide, please. So why study humanities in health and medicine? A knowledge, well said by Albert Einstein, a knowledge of the historic and philosophical background gives that kind of independence from prejudices of his generation from which most scientists are suffering. This independence created by philosophical insight is, in my opinion, the mark of distinction between a mere artisan or specialist and a real seeker after the truth. So with this, humanities can wonders in health and medicine, that I personally feel. And, we have now health and medicine, like public health challenges also looked after by the humanities stream. Next slide, please. So, and why science need philosophy? There is unparalleled value of philosophical approach in revealing underlying unquestioned assumption within medical policy and practice. So whenever, we have to implement the medical policy and practice, we need some philosophy and, to see that it has to be on humanitarian grounds. There's a lot of human ethics that is involved in that one. So it has to be, bioethics is also coming up. So all these fields together, I think there should be some interconnecting link between science and humanities. With this, the next slide, please. I want to owe this regard to all of you. You are the superpowers. You are mentoring all the students. Every day. This is the platform. This workshop, through this workshop also, you have been creating a youth which is building the nation. So as your tagline goes, you are definitely doing this workshop multidisciplinary. Is really going to help them build their future. So with this, I thank the organizing team for such a wonderful opportunity. I've never spoken in humanities stream. This is the first time I am speaking on the what do you call non-scientific background, non-science platform. But I really enjoyed the word of wisdom by Dr. Harpreet Kaur. She rightly motivated in the right direction. So I congratulate every one of you, and I thank once again the organizing committee, and I thank the audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja. It was such an interesting session. We really enjoyed your session. And the explanation which you gave about what role psychology should play is 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 very important for all of us to understand that even in health sector, psychology need is there. When you have to cure a patient with medicine, you need to cure that patient with some amount of you need to empathize with that person. You need to understand that person, what that person is actually going through. So obviously physical mental health is important nowadays. And when you have given the tagline to teachers like superpowers, again a T which I could see instead of an S of super, was very interesting to see that. Thank you so much, and we are very grateful for the time and efforts you have took to share your thoughts and experiences with us. And I'm sure our students are going to get motivated and understand that it is not about clearing your exams. It is about, with determination, if you have chosen some career, you need to excel in that area. You need to fix yourself to certain goals, and then you have to work towards that. Thank you so much, Dr. Pooja Hazare. And students, we are going to take your questions after the last speaker. So keep posting your questions on the chat box. Now, may I request Ms. Charanjit Kaur to kindly introduce our next speaker. Over to you, Charanjit.
Thank you, Pooja. So good evening, everyone. Taking forward to this workshop, I would like to introduce our next guest speaker, Ms. Manu Bhagar. She is an Indian Olympian in airgun shooting. So I would like to give her brief introduction. Manu, welcome Manu, first of all.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah. Manu Bhagar is an Indian Olympian who represents India in 10-meter and 25-meter pistol shooting. She is the youngest Indian to win a gold medal at ISSF World Cup. She first tasted success at the international level when she won the silver medal at 2017 Asian Junior Championship. That time she was just 16 years old. I just want to add this thing because she started, I just also want to add something, like she started her career at the age of 14. And within the 2 years of span practice, she won a silver medal at Asian Junior Championship. In the 2017 year 2017 in
I
National
was
Games.
15 at that time, ma'am.
Pardon?
I was 15 at that time.
You were 15. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. So, in the year 2017 National Games held at Kerala, she won 9 gold medals and defeated multiple World Cup medalist Hina Sidhu and broke Sidhu's record of 240.8 points by scoring 242.3 points in the final. Great, Manu. It's very great. And on 29th August 2020, she received Arjuna Award from our Prime Minister. So it's a very highest achievement. Like, you are just 18 now, I guess, and you have won so many medals. It's a very great for us to have you here. And her achievements, about her achievement, she represented India at the 2080 ISSF World Cup and won 2 gold medals. She won the gold medal in women's 10-meter air pistol event at 2018 Commonwealth Games just at the age of 16 in her maiden Commonwealth Games appearance. In the span of last 2 years, Manu has won over 14 gold medals and 2 silver medals at international level. That's great, Manu. So today she is going to talk with us about her, experiences and her success stories, and being from Manu Bhaker to Olympian Manu Bhaker, her journey about that. So she is going to share her views and experience on sports women issues and challenges. So Manu, अब आप हमें बताइए. And one more thing I just want to add, she is Delhi University student. She is doing graduation from Delhi University, and it's a very proud moment for all of us, Manu. Thank you, Manu, for
Thank
being
you.
here. So Manu, tell me about yourself.
I don't know if everybody knows me or not. So you have introduced me very well. And yes, I started shooting at the age of 14. Before that, I used to play multiple other sports. And as I've been faced a lot of difficulties in throughout my journey also, it's been a very short journey yet, but then still, बहुत सारी problems हैं जो मैंने face की हैं, we'd say gender discrimination बहुत हर एक stage पे we face. Sometimes it's just कि हमको लगता है कि discrimination हो रहा है, but then हम बोलते नहीं है कुछ भी. फीमेल्स का जनरली होता है, वी डोंट स्पीक अप अंटिल एंड अनलेस बहुत ही ज़्यादा क्रिटिकल सिचुएशन हो जाती है.
Yes.
मेरी जर्नी सो फार काफ़ी स्मूथ रही है और विद योर ब्लेसिंग्स एंड ऑल आई हैव बीन विनिंग मेडल्स, अ लॉट ऑफ मेडल्स आई हैव वन, and I genuinely think that's all because of blessings and hard work and passion. That's what I believe. If you have passion, if you work hard, and if you have a positive frame of mind, you can achieve anything you want. So it's not just कि people generally ask me कि 16 साल में you won at the Commonwealth Games, and then 15 साल में you did so well, you represented India in such different competitions. और 16 साल में I'm actually मेरे को जाना जाता है कि कॉमनवेल्थ में 16 साल की उम्र में I won the gold. So that was, yeah, I'm supposed कि I broke several taboos of especially in Haryana कि लड़कियों को खेलने नहीं दिया जाता है, या फिर मतलब इतनी छोटी उम्र में तो कौन ही parents don't even allow in some of the rural areas लड़कियों को खेलने के लिए. Normally studies का अभी मिल गया है after such a long struggle of females अभी मिला है, but then definitely believe in yourself, have faith and work hard. You'll achieve anything you'll want.
मनु, मैंने ना आपके कुछ वीडियोस देखे और उसमें मुझे पता लगा कि आप काफी सारे गेम्स खेलते थे.
Yes, ma'am.
You were kabaddi player, you were taekwondo player, and you have won many medals in taekwondo also. Boxing you have done. तो ये क्या कौन सा ऐसा कारण रहा कि तुमने शूटिंग को ही एक पैशन के लिए उसमें लिया?
बहुत रीजंस मैंने ज़्यादा नहीं सोचे, बट देन अभी मैं रियलाइज़ करती हूँ कि रीजंस बहुत अच्छे हो सकते थे. एक्चुअली बहुत पार्शियलिटी होती है इन स्पोर्ट्स में, काफ़ी मैंने पार्शियलिटी मेरे साथ बहुत बार हुई है। बट कोई प्लान्स नहीं थे कि मुझे शूटिंग करनी है। मेरी लाइफ़ में यही है कि मैं कुछ बहुत लॉन्ग टर्म प्लान्स नहीं रखती हूँ। मैं सिर्फ़ सोचती हूँ कि मुझे जो भी करना है बस पूरे दिल से करूँगी, मेहनत से करूँगी। इट डज़न्ट इवन मैटर अगर मुझे नहीं भी करना, मतलब मेरा दिल नहीं है नहीं करने को, फिर भी मुझे करना पड़ रहा है, तो आई विल गिव माई 100%। द सेम वेंट विद शूटिंग। मैंने सिर्फ़ ऐसे खेल-खेल में ही ट्राई किया था और काफ़ी ज़्यादा अच्छा एक्सेल कर लिया मैंने, आई थिंक 2-3 मंथ्स में ही। सो आई थिंक दैट्स द थिंग।
So here I just want to add, she is preparing herself for the Tokyo Olympics. Am I right? So
राइट मैम।
तो अपने बारे में बताओ कि तुम्हारा फिटनेस कैसा मतलब आपका शेड्यूल क्या रहता है, फिटनेस रिजीम क्या रहता है, आप मॉर्निंग में क्या करते हैं? बिकॉज अगर आप बोलोगे तो हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को पता लगेगा, यस, इफ यू वांट टू अचीव दैट लेवल, इफ यू वांट टू गो अचीव हायर, you want to, you know, you want to wear that tricolor. Actually, I want to add this thing, you want to wear that tricolor, then you have to, you know, say, do many sacrifices. So tell me.
My day starts with yoga at 5:45, 30 minutes of yoga session, 5:45 till 6:15 or 6:30 maximum, 40-45 minutes yoga. Then I get ready. Then we have breakfast at 7:30. Then bus to the shooting range at 8 o'clock. We train from 8:30 till 12:30. Then we come back. We have a lunch. फिर थोड़ा सा रेस्ट, देन वी हैव जिम क्लासेस फ्रॉम लेट्स से आई थिंक 4:30 till 6:30, so it's like either 1.5 or 2 hours of session, and then dinner, and then some more exercises for the stability of hands and legs, and balancing exercises and all, and then just sleep.
So
One thing I want to say is, at the time of the result, when we are on the shooting lane, or in your case examination hall or something, so it's just कि even अगर हम अच्छा भी नहीं कर रहे हैं तो we have the trust कि हमने बहुत मेहनत की है, and we always ask ourselves, I always ask myself कि क्या मैं डिजर्व करती हूँ, क्या मैं डिजर्व करती हूँ कि मैं पोडियम पे खड़ी हो सकती हूँ, क्या मैं डिजर्व, मैंने इतनी मेहनत की है कि मेडल मुझे मिल पाएगा या नहीं मिल पाएगा। आई ऑलवेज आस्क माई सेल्फ कि वेदर आई डिजर्व इट और नॉट, एंड हर रोज जब भी मैं ट्रेनिंग करती हूँ आई जस्ट मेक श्योर कि जिस दिन मेरा टाइम आए कि मुझे मेडल मिलने वाला है, उस दिन, जिस दिन डिसाइड होगा कि मुझे मेडल मिलेगा या नहीं मिलेगा, उस दिन एटलीस्ट मैं खड़ी होके ये कह सकूँ कि येस आई डिजर्व इट, येस आई वर्कड हार्ड फॉर इट।
yes.
सो दैट्स इट।
एंड मनु, वन मोर थिंग, मैंने सुना है कि आपको इंडियन अटायर्स बहुत पसंद है।
Yes, ma'am. अभी मैं I think I used to wear India everywhere, wherever possible. I used to wear India every possible wear. So it was like whether I'm going to a function or a award function or a casual anywhere, I just always used to wear India. Then now I'm like, I should limit my this thing. I should wear my India with the only in shooting range or while I'm, representing my country, not just like that.
So how do you feel when you wear that tricolored,
Oh, it feels splendid. Trust me, it feels so good. Uh, you always feel कि हमने कुछ अपने देश के लिए किया है,
exactly.
और we always feel proud कि हमने एटलीस्ट कुछ किया है हमारे देश के लिए, हम कुछ कर रहे हैं, हम हमारी तरफ से हम मेहनत कर रहे हैं। So it feels splendid, and especially internationals में when you go in a whole team, everybody of your group is dressed formal and dressed similar, like India shooting team, India shooting team. It feels so good. It feels splendid.
So I one of your interview, आपने बोला कि मैंने अभी तक हमारा जो नेशनल एंथम है, it's your dream to hear national anthem at some international event. So
It's my fantasy actually. I always wonder, I always imagine myself standing there, or flashbacks aa jate hain ki Commonwealth Games mein I was standing on the top of the podium, and then the national anthem began, and everybody was standing in the honor of my country, India, and because of me that happened. So it feels so good. It never fades away. It's always there. हमेशा मुझे हर एक टूर्नामेंट का याद है कि मैं गोल्ड मेडल लिए हाथ में खड़ी थी, और इंडिया का नेशनल एंथम, इंडिया का फ्लैग ऊपर जा रहा था, एंथम बज रहा था, और सभी लोग, मतलब कितने सारे कंट्रीज होते हैं, चाइना, जापान, रशिया, मतलब एवरीबडी, अमेरिका, एवरीबडी वाज स्टैंडिंग इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ इंडिया. So that's where it feels good, where it feels good.
I can understand that because it's a very rare chance. हर किसी को नहीं
And
मिलता है.
especially on other land. मतलब
Yes.
इंडिया के बाहर हम कहीं और दूसरे कंट्री में जाके हमारा नेशनल एंथम बज रहा है. That's a very proud moment. It's a
Yes,
very proud thing.
Yes. अच्छा, मनु, हमारे ना कुछ क्वेश्चन स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन्स ने हमें भेजे थे, तो उन्होंने ये पूछा था कि who motivated you to like in your family, your parents, because you belong, as you said, you belongs to Haryana, Jhajjar, ठीक है, it's a very rural area, and the thing is कि वहाँ पे
Semi-rural
लड़कियों को
and
ज्यादा चांस
semi-urban.
नहीं मिलता है बाहर आने का. तो who motivated you, and how you मतलब you take up the challenges, किस तरीके से आपने फिर इसको फॉलो किया? I just want to ask.
बचपन में तो I think my mother always motivated me for everything, for whatever I wanted to do. She was always there. And कभी भी कुछ भी होता था मेरी फैमिली में भी, अगर बहुत ज़्यादा मैं फैमिली से बातचीत नहीं होती थी मेरी, तो मम्मा कुछ भी होता था ना, एवर कभी भी कुछ भी मुझे कुछ चाहिए होता था, शी ऑलवेज स्टूड देयर फॉर मी, शी ऑलवेज स्टूड अप फॉर मी. और कभी फैमिली ने कुछ मना किया है, देन आल्सो शी ऑलवेज हैंडल्ड इट. सो बचपन में इट वाज मम्मा, बट देन ग्रेजुअली, धीरे धीरे आगे जाके जब मुझे खुद अपनी लाइफ की चॉइसेस बनानी थी, तो मुझे आई डोंट थिंक यू नीड एनीबडी टू मोटिवेट यू. यू आर योरसेल्फ अ मोटिवेशन फॉर योरसेल्फ. आई ऑलवेज बिलीव कि हमारी खुद की पैशन ही हमको मोटिवेट कर सकती है. तो इट्स नॉट जस्ट nobody, it's not like everybody needs a motivation. Motivation can come from your own self.
अच्छा, एक और क्वेश्चन था. आई हर्ड कि your mom, she is a principal, and your father, he is an engineer. So उन्होंने कभी कहा नहीं कि हम लोग इस बैकग्राउंड से, आपको भी जी पढ़ाई में ही एक्सेल करना है, why you want to choose this career, and why you want to go in this line, because it's very tough to be a player, है ना?
Yes, that's right. But मेरे I think I'd say कि बचपन से ही मेरे दिख गए थे intentions. जिस तरह से मैं हमेशा sports में ही I used to be always in the sports only. May be कबड्डी, और मुझे मेरे फेस पे चोट लगी है, इतना बहुत ज़्यादा, बहुत चोट भी लगी है, काफ़ी एक्सीडेंट्स भी हुए हैं. और कबड्डी है, सबसे ज़्यादा मुझे उसी में चोट लगी है. उसके अलावा लॉन टेनिस, बास्केटबॉल, फुटबॉल, स्विमिंग, बैडमिंटन, लॉन टेनिस, एवरीथिंग आई यूज्ड टू प्ले. और तो कभी भी एज सच ऐसे नहीं हुआ कि मुझे सिर्फ स्टडीज ही करनी है, बट देन आई वाज सपोज्ड टू go to Allen Institute in Kota for my higher studies for medical science. But then I think I did pretty well in shooting, and it was postponed, or I'd say cancelled.
I know you are very good in studies also. Because
Believe so.
yes, I know. कहा जाता है ना कि खेलोगे कूदोगे तो होगे खराब, पढ़ोगे लिखोगे तो बनोगे नवाब. So here you are just a role model for our young generation, that if you are taking up studies, and you can take simultaneously, you can take up the sports also. इसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. You are the role model, you are the example of this thing. So here are some questions, Manu. Archana है, what would you like to suggest to upcoming sports person to become successful in their respective games?
Definitely, I would want to tell them, don't look for motivation out of yourself. मतलब जरूरी नहीं है कि तुमको कहीं और से motivation मिले. First thing. Second thing is, if you want to do something, be passionate about it. Hard work is definitely the key to success, as we all know it. एंड लास्ट में जब मेडल जीतने का टाइम आता है तो हमें खुद ही रियलाइज होता है कि पता नहीं हम डिजर्व करते हैं या नहीं करते हैं. बी कॉन्फिडेंट, be you trust in yourself, trust in your hard work, and be passionate about it. You will definitely achieve anything you want.
एक क्वेश्चन है हंसिका वशिष्ठ का. हाउ डिड यू मैनेज योर स्केड्यूल इन दिस कोरोना टाइम एज वीक नो द शूटिंग रेंज एंड जिम्स वर क्लोज्ड?
During this time, I believe I mostly focused on my recovery. Because I think for the past 4 years, I was shooting continuously. I was shooting like mad. I used to train, I think, 10 to 12 hours a day. That's way too much. And due to which my body was always kind of in fatigue or I was very tired. So I think I mostly focused on my recovery and my fitness. सो जिम ज़रूरी नहीं है कि जिम में ही फिटनेस हो, तो नॉर्मली घर पे भी फिटनेस हो सकती है. आई यूज्ड टू फोकस ऑन माय दिस अदर देन शूटिंग थिंग्स.
ओके, सो एक और क्वेश्चन है. आई जस्ट वांट टू स्क्रॉल दैट. ओके, नव्या महाजन है, वो पूछ रही हैं, डू वुमेन इन योर प्रोफेशन हैव हार्ड टाइम टू गेट प्रमोटेड? हाउ डू यू बैलेंस वर्क and life responsibility? What did you give to the next generation to us?
Actually, to be very honest, in this shooting sport, in my sport, there's no such thing as like, as far as I have seen it, no discrimination there we see. Actually, women are shooting better than men in this arena. If you believe me, uh, women are doing much better than men in many events. So, and in fact, जो मेल्स हैं वो भी इतने ज़्यादा सपोर्टिव हैं, इतने ज़्यादा हमेशा मोटिवेट करते रहते हैं कि यू कैन डू इट, इट डजंट इवन मैटर. एंड इट्स नॉट जस्ट कि ये ऐसे कबड्डी कुश्ती मस्कुलर स्पोर्ट नहीं है, तो इट्स जस्ट माइंड स्पोर्ट एंड थोड़ा बहुत बैलेंसिंग, बॉडी बैलेंस एंड ऑल. तो इट्स नो पार्शियलिटी.
Okay, and Shruti Rai, how do you manage your studies with all the training?
That's exhausting. I have so many assignments, I have so many projects. I'm just getting mad every day. And definitely there's no rest for students. As it says, Corona ने सबको छुट्टी दे दी. नहीं, students को नहीं मिली है छुट्टी. और मुझे इतने सारे assignments, research papers, essays, projects, I don't know what not, everything. और कोई लीव भी नहीं मिलती है. तो
This
I think
this is the complaint you are doing to us. You're
from
making
everybody's side, I'm saying it to you. क्योंकि सारे मेरे कॉलेज फ्रेंड्स हैं, we all discuss about it कि बिल्कुल स्टूडेंट्स को छुट्टी नहीं मिली है. हमको हर दूसरे तीसरे दिन एक ना एक असाइनमेंट या कुछ ना कुछ रिसर्च पेपर इशू कर दिया जाता है. एंड इट्स सो एग्जॉस्टिंग, बट आई ट्राई माई बेस्ट. मैं शूटिंग करके वापस आके रेस्ट करने के टाइम पे आई डोंट rest. I generally go for studies or something. I have a personal tutor also for the same, so that I can cover my syllabus. और जब भी classes attend करने का time मिलता है, I do attend. और उसके अलावा I think my study table is full of assignments and
So
stuff.
what course you are doing, Manu?
I'm in second year of, I'm doing BA in political science honors, in second
Okay.
year.
Yeah. So you have been you have offered a government job also.
Yeah, at the age of 16 only I got.
So this is an advantage for being a sports person.
But it's not that easy that we
I know.
we don't.
I know.
I can
The
say
hard work
that.
you did. Yes. So one more question: what would you like to suggest to upcoming sports person to become successful in their respective games? Okay, we have taken this. Okay, so there are so many questions. Okay, who has been your inspiration throughout your journey? Who do you look to feel courage in yourself?
Definitely my family, especially my mother and my father also, but mostly more of my mother. And apart from that, I believe that I can only motivate myself. So I always believe कि चाहे कुछ भी हो, I need to be honest with myself. मुझे किसी और को कुछ प्रूव करने की जरूरत नहीं है कि ठीक है, मैं अभी आप देख रहे हो तो मैं पढ़ रही हूँ या नहीं पढ़ रही हूँ, आप देख रहे हो तो मैं शूटिंग कर रही हूँ नहीं कर रही हूँ. आई नो बाय माई सेल्फ कि मैं कर रही हूँ अच्छे से ट्रेनिंग, मैं पढ़ाई अच्छे से कर रही हूँ या नहीं. आई जस्ट बी ऑनेस्ट विद माई सेल्फ, so that I have faith in myself, I have faith in my hard work.
Yes. So, do you use visual cues of your environment to help you focus?
I'm sorry, what?
दे आर आस्किंग कि आप कोई विजुअल, जैसे कुछ लोग वीडियोस देखते हैं, कुछ देखते हैं कि आप फोकस्ड हो अपनी एक्टिविटी के लिए या अपनी ट्रेनिंग के
Oh,
लिए.
like that.
व्हाट डू यू डू? व्हाट इज लाइक
No.
reduce your stress level or anxiety level at the time of competition? You are feeling so anxiety, मतलब anxiety level high होता है आपका, stress होता है because
Soft
everybody is
music.
looking at you. तो आप क्या करते हो उसमें?
मैं मोस्टली प्रेफर करती हूँ किसी भी तरह का म्यूजिक, एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट आई थिंक I just stay quiet, stay calm, and just music. That's it.
ओके. सो मनु, जब आप कॉलेज में जाते हो तो आपके फ्रेंड्स भी हैं. सो इज देयर एनी, मतलब लाइक कुछ डिफरेंट वो आपको ट्रीट करते हैं जैसे पहले की मनु, व्हेन विल, मतलब एट द एज ऑफ 12 or 13 when you play all the games and all, and after your achievements you have achieved so much in at very young age. तो अब जब आप फ्रेंड्स के साथ बात करते हो या हरियाणा में जाते हो अपने घर पर, तो क्या रिएक्शन होता है वहां लोगों का?
I want to tell you one thing. Actually, I want to share this story with everyone. A lot of people used to tell me कि मैं कुछ नहीं कर पाऊंगी. मुझे बहुत सारे लोग बोलते थे कि मतलब ऐसे ही तुम किसी किसी स्पोर्ट में खेलती रही या फिर ऐसे ही कुछ भी जो मन किया वो करते रहे ना, तो तुम कुछ नहीं कर पाओगे. मुझे एक्चुअली बहुत सारे, मतलब खास लोगों ने भी ऐसे रियलाइज कराया कि यू विल बी नथिंग इन आफ्टर लेट्स से 5-10 years. You won't be able to do anything like worth it. So I feel so proud, I feel so happy कि अब एटलीस्ट उनको बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है. अब कोई भी नहीं बोल सकता कि आई डिडंट डू एनीथिंग. सो इट्स नॉट जस्ट, अगर लोग आपको बोलते हैं कि यू कांट डू एनीथिंग, इट डजंट मीन कि you literally can't do anything. It's within you only. If you tend to do anything, अगर आप कुछ करना चाहते हो, तो definitely you will do it. It doesn't matter what people say, what people think, and what people say to your face. So just trust yourself.
ओके.
Yeah.
सो पूजा हजारी मैम, आप कुछ पूछना चाह रहे थे कल मनु से?
Yeah.
हाँ जी.
Hi. Hello, Manu.
Hi, ma'am.
Very nice.
I think
Such a tender age, in such a tender age, if you feel for your country like this, like she's doing, youth is pure. Am I audible?
Your voice is breaking, ma'am.
now you are. Please carry on. Dr. Hazare, carry on.
आई थिंक इनका.
Go ahead. Acha, Manu, I have a last question, if I can take Charanjit.
Yes, you can.
What are your goals for the Tokyo? Because as Charanjit said that you are preparing yourself for Tokyo. So what are your goals for Tokyo? What have you thought?
I believe कि अगर if I tend to stay in the same schedule, and which I will have to obviously, or definitely बहुत ज़्यादा I don't want to overthink about it. किसी भी circumstance के बारे में अगर आप overthink कर लेते हो, then you are not afraid or you are very afraid. So I don't want that to happen. I'm just trying to focus on my current shooting stuff, and
To win gold.
yeah.
And to win gold.
I'm just working hard for it, and let's see what happens, because we don't know what can happen.
No, absolutely, you're going to work hard. We know that, and you are working hard in this area.
So am I audible now?
Hello.
I think
Yes,
my
ma'am.
network, went really bad at that time. I really wanted to, congratulate Manu, and I wanted to say that our youth is in right hands. So they are building the future. And in the same direction, my daughter also, she has got into, she is very good at academics. And I'm very proud to say that she has also opted for sports. Like she has won the National Yoga Championship last year. So I also, see the future that they are in the good, as rightly said by Charanjit ma'am, that पढ़ोगे लिखोगे बनोगे नवाब and खेलोगे कूदोगे तो होगे खराब. Though that is really wrong. So I think they can strike a balance. They know now the kids, they know how to strike a balance between their studies and sports. They are more aware about their sports activity and their health. I think they are more aware about what they're eating, what they're not eating. So I think and Manu, you really we wish you all the best, and all
Thank you
the
so
wishes,
much,
good
ma'am.
wishes
Thank
are
you so
with you.
much.
You get a lot of gold medal for us, for India, because I say it us because I also when I see myself that yes, I've also done for something for my nation. I have developed drug that is are being clinically used. So I really feel really proud to do something for the nation. So this kind of if everyone feels, or every youth will feel that yes, you have to do something for their country. So that also become a add on to the whatever they do. It will add on to their career, or and they will whatever they want, they get it. So with this, I would like to over to you, to the organizers. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you, ma'am.
Pooja. So,
हेलो चरणजीत,
yes, ma'am.
मैं भी एक बात मनु से कहना चाहूंगी.
जी, ma'am.
कर सकती हूँ?
Yes,
हाँ.
ma'am. Most welcome.
हेलो मनु, हेलो.
Hello,
बहुत
ma'am.
अच्छा लगा नाम सुन के झज्जर का. बहुत पुरानी याद है, मेरी बहुत रिश्ता है झज्जर से. मेरी नानी का घर झज्जर में, हम बचपन बहुत झज्जर में बीता है. तो झज्जर का नाम सुनते ही मेरे कॉलर अप हो गए कि कोई झज्जर का भी इतने ऊंचे उसमें और इतने मेडल्स के लिए बहुत गर्व की बात है. मुझे पूरा झज्जर बार बार याद आ रहा है. जब से आपने झज्जर का नाम लिया, मैं पूरा बचपन जो है, हर छुट्टी होती थी, सभी समर वेकेशंस होते थे, हम लोग झज्जर पहुंच जाते थे. All the best, Manu. All the
Thank
best.
you
Good
so
luck
much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
for your future.
So,
Thank
Manu,
you. Thank you.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Lakshmi, ma'am.
Welcome.
So, Manu, you are the true example. जो आमिर खान की मूवी है हमारी छोरियां क्या छोरों से कम है.
बिल्कुल वही हमारे घर, जहाँ झज्जर में नानी का घर था, उसी घर के आसपास की शूटिंग है वो सारी वहां पर. जो ये अभी जो पिक्चर आई थी,
दंगल. So, मनु, जैसा कि आपका नाम है मनु, मनु was the मतलब first man on the earth.
Right.
तो हम लोग भी इतनी ही उम्मीदें कर रहे हैं, जैसे आपने रिकॉर्ड तोड़े हैं इतनी छोटी उम्र में यहाँ पर, तो हम भी चाहते हैं मतलब आप आगे बढ़ें और हमारे देश का नाम ऊंचा करें. बाहर जाकर जो ट्राई फ्लैग है वो इतना ऊंचा हो कि हमें प्राउड फील हो कि यस, शी इज मनु, एंड हम लोगों से हमारी इनसे बात हुई है और वी आर मतलब मनु, कोई ताली बजाए ना बजाए, पर हमारा कॉलेज और हमारा कंट्री आपके लिए अभी से अपलॉड कर रहा है. विश यू वेरी गुड लक, विश यू वेरी ऑल द वेरी बेस्ट, डू गुड, एंड वी आर प्राउड टू हैव यू हियर.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, Charanjit and Manu, for such a wonderful session. And I'm sure our students have got motivated and learned so many things what Manu had gone through and how she has achieved her goals in life. And best wishes to you, Manu. And thank you, Charanjit, for such a wonderful session and conversation with Manu. I'm sure ab ye Olympic jeet ke aayegi gold. So again, we will interview her out here have a conversation with her. And thank you, Miss Manu, for being with us and sharing your time and experience with all of us. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you. May I now request Dr. Harjinder Kaur to introduce our speaker for today's evening, Miss Preeti Tanwar. Harjinder, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja Vadhavan. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce you all to our accomplished speaker, Ms. Preeti Tanwar. Ms. Preeti is the CEO of High Ed Success based out of Alpharetta, USA. It's an organization that helps in scaling the social economy and provides technical, human, and analytics-based solutions for client growth. She's a software engineer and specializes in personalized career mentoring. What underscores her accolades is the fact that
Ma'am, you're muted. Ma'am, you are muted.
no, okay.
Ah.
This commitment to handhold others and contribute to their growth is what sets her apart. Miss Preeti is the first Indian woman to be awarded Educator of the Year Award by the Technical College System of South Carolina, USA. Being a first anywhere in any field is hard. However, harder still is to be a woman, and that too, a woman of color, and an achiever in a distant land as competitive as the United States of America. Miss Preeti has to her credit an objective which is truly inspirational. Her stated goal and mission of transforming 20 lives in 2020 is indeed noble. And I'm sure many of our students today are going to benefit from her guidance. This is an opportunity for our students to widen their horizons. With immense gratitude expressed by our principal, Professor Harpreet Kaur, and the faculty of Mata Sundari College, and on behalf of the organizing team and the departments, I extend to you, Ms. Preeti Tanwar, a very, very warm welcome. Today, she is going to speak on self-esteem and success goals. Over to you, Ms. Preeti.
Thank you so much, Ms. Harjinder. This is really a kind introduction. I am overwhelmed, but I just want to take 2 minutes for Manu. Oh my God, I feel like as if all the self-development books I have read so far, she's like a collection of everything in that. So hats off to her, congratulations to her and each and every person who is listening to her. At least even if you can take one of it, that will make your life. Any one principle what she shared. So in my session, I guess I will just complement it by the strategies you can implement in your, so that even if one principle you take, you can get one step ahead. That should be generally the objective of my sessions, that one takeaway, if you can have, then my presence of getting up early in the morning and rushing it or to and connecting with you is accomplished. So what I would be focusing, what it would be self-esteem. 70%, I'm not sure if you know that, as per LinkedIn, 70% of the youth in the age of 18 to 25 is lost, not sure where they are headed. If they know where they're headed, they are directionless. 58% of them feel depressed or pressured under the success goals that they have put for themselves. And I totally relate to it, because for the past 10 years, I have been working as a career coach, connecting with the youth, connecting with recent grads, women re-entering to the workforce. And there's a common aspect of it among all of them, which is low self-esteem. And I hope you know what the difference between the self-esteem and the confidence is. Confidence is what others perceive about you. And esteem is what you think about yourself. You know, how just Manu mentioned that I don't care about what other people think about themselves. She believes in herself. And that is what exactly I loved about her when she said that. Because the moment you say that to yourself, you change your attitude that I'm not going to give up on you. I'm going to make my own attitude, and I'm going to make myself prove to you that attitude leads to goals, towards you near your goals. And of course, the success is by default, the rippling effect of it. So not sure why all this coloring thing is happening. So this self-esteem, and again, this all happens. And why I saw that, especially in the youth, I connected them with the clients, US clients, because that's what I generally do, that I get them on the US clients projects and all. And they all had great degrees, great scores and all. But the moment they start connecting to the client, that lacked the confidence that is needed to convince the client that I can do it. I hope you're aware that in terms of the communication, it's 55% your body language, right? How you connect with each other. 38% is your voice, and 7% is only words. All my time in the school time, I always thought that is always about how good you can speak in English, right? How good your vocabulary is. I spent so much time on that, and considering that, I'm not good enough. So that part, of course, I'll talk about later, that how it impacted me. But we do that. We in India do that. If I can't speak in English properly, if I don't use the right words, that impacts. But I want you to know that's only like 7% of it. 38% is the voice. And today's world in COVID, you can't see me the entire thing. The only thing you're literally connecting to me more is voice, because most of the time we're not even putting video. Look at this right now. I only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos. So your body language is gone, right? So that means everything I'm dependent on is your voice. Your voice should reflect, can I trust you to get that project done? If you don't believe in yourself and you are like, yeah, I'll do it. Okay. If you don't show me that confidence that you can figure it out, no employer looks for, and no teacher looks for that you score good marks, or no employer looks for that you know everything. No, I am on the employer side. I'm letting you know. I don't care for entire 100 on 100 scores. What I want is you to have the ability and the confidence in yourself. Will you figure it out if I give something to you? That's what I look for. And if that thing is there in you, if that belief is there in you, that will come in the voice. And I'm talking about just the introduction. If I just ask you, tell me about yourself, go in the mirror, try just 4 lines that I'm Preeti Tanwar, I'm Higher Success CEO, and I provide technical consulting to colleges and empowering youth. No pause. That's exactly how I want your intro to be. Most of the time, I don't even hear that. So I'm asking a very simple question. Tell me about yourself, which is self-explanatory, right? Nobody knows better than you. I don't know your entire script of life. So you can tell me anything. You can impress me with anything. You pick how you want to impress me during that interview. Or if you want to get that promotion, or if you want to get that project that you look for and other person gets it. You have to make that effort, and I'm willing to listen on the other side, right? So what I know I'm preaching that, but I was like that exactly, A grade, top 3 student, entire life from kindergarten to masters. Yet I suffered with a low self-esteem entire my life. My cause was my dark complexion, or you can call it the husky complexion, with the acne scars. And with the hormonal changes and the puberty, it made it more. I started having more fear. There is another thing, 3 fears are there. Fear of getting hurt, fear of being perfect, and there's another fear is fear of failure. So I suffered more about the fear of being perfect. I wanted to be perfect. And I'm so glad Pooja is here today, because she doesn't know that I've had a major complex from her, because she was like apt. वो बोलते हैं ना कि भगवान ने अच्छे से मतलब एकदम बैठ के बनाया है जो, she is for that one. consider music, consider dance, consider complexion. I mean, I used to feel kuch de deta, ek cheez de deta Bhagwan, right? So whether it's the personal aspect of it, or in the school, or in the offices, I've always felt that the fair complexion in India is beautiful. And every woman, every girl, howsoever you want it, want to look beautiful, right? Want somebody to say that you're beautiful. And I want somebody to say that. So I started living in that fear. How do I do that? Right? I'm not apt. And I know I'm on a lie, but I want to tell you something. So obviously in this fear and all, this was the college first year. And it was a Valentine's Day. And I know all those are in college. That's why I'm sharing this, because nothing has changed. This recently, one of my best friend's daughter had gone through the same thing, and there's nothing changed in 25 years. We women somehow keep judging on ourselves how other person, treats us. So it is very important I share this. So it's a college first year, Valentine's Day. And of course, no matter how you are, whether you are in which size or what color, you would want somebody to propose you. So you get dressed up, and if not proposal, you look good. That would have been sufficed. So the guy whom I had infatuation on, he comes on. And he actually was coming towards us only, me and my best friend. All right. Coming. So obviously your heart starts thumping because you're infatuated. You haven't shared anything to anybody. So he's coming towards us, and I'm telling my best friend, you know what? He's coming towards us only. And so he comes, and guess what? He proposes my best friend, who happens to be fair. So what happens to my self-esteem? I don't know what kind of books I would have read, but trust me, on that day, it was crushed. I was literally in the deep down that no matter what I would do in the studies and all, it's always world is going to be not fair. And I started living in more resentments. And the other person does not even know that, right? I think, Pooja, you ask her. I mean, she's my little sister. So I keep referring that to her because that's how it happened. The other person doesn't know that. You have created your mindset that I'm not good enough. And that's the biggest mistake of my life. Because what I said to the universe, that I'm not worthy of happiness. I'm not worthy of living the life that I want. And that universe took it and replicated it into the incidences where I'm not chosen. Right? Then I got married. So story doesn't end there. There also I will hear, ye color pehen le, isme gori dikhegi. All right. Or flana ki bahu to bahut sundar hai. Kyun? Because wo bahut gori hai. तो ये कलर पहन ले, ये अच्छा नहीं लगेगा, वो वहां पे जाएंगे तो थोड़ा वो हो जाएगा. You know what I mean, right? So I was losing my individuality. And I realized that I have given the remote control to some other person of my emotions. And that's unacceptable as a human. So I want you to realize that you can't do that. And of course, there came a day when it became enough is enough. I really need to sort this life out. I can't really give this, whether it's personal life or in professional life too. People take advantage because they see you. You're hardworking, you're sincere. But I'll give you another example. I was doing my internship. I did my master's from Georgia and I was doing my internship. Entire project was done by me. But just because I don't know how to take 4 sentences in English and introduce me in that fishbowl room where all the executives are there, that I'm done the project, the person who was on the side with me on that project shared, and he got all the clapping, he got all the praise. Why? Because I didn't have that courage to stand up in myself and tell that this is, I have done it. Because I myself have always the, you can say, fear of being that perfection. No, I would always think I have not done this part. So what I'm trying to say is, I think that day came when I had enough is enough. I have to sort this out. So then I realized, what do? I know I am very good at academics. There is absolutely, that thing, you know within you that what is you're good at. So I want you to spend that, take a pause in the life and create that self-awareness. It could be your best friend, mom. If you had to hire a career coach, do that. Please do that. It's worth it. Create that self-awareness. What are you good at? I knew I'm good at academics. I knew helping others gives me a kick. It's something I just enjoy. So why not I make a combination of it? So while I was working in my first job, after I finished my work, I would go to other departments. So I worked for a college here in US from past 16 years. So I would go to other departments and say, what can I do for you? And I'm telling you, this is really the key of success. The whole thing about first Indian women to get Educator of the Year award, I don't know. I did not, work towards it. I literally started asking the departments, what can I do for you? I'm done with my work. So they started giving me work and I made the entire college paperless. So luckily the college president was on the round, just like, old days where Raja Praja ke check karta tha. So I was lucky that the college president was on the round and he was seeing me in every department. He's like, how come this girl is hired by all the departments? So, and there is a competition where the more the votes are for this Educator of the Year, the more you become the nominee. So since I knew the entire department, most of the departments, the award that you get in 15, 20 years, because that's the time it takes to know each and every one in other departments. I received maximum nominations in just 3 years of the joining college. So the nominations and the college president evaluation gave me this award. So what can I do for you? Rather than what's in it for me, it's going to change entire aspect of the thought process. Because that thought process is going to change your attitude. And that attitude is going to bring near to your goals and to your success. I hope we're on the same page on this one, right? So academically, as I said, I was good. So I leveraged that part, technical competency, connected with my passion, which Manu also said, you can't do anything if you don't have passion. I'm passionate about empowering others. It just gives me some kind of an inner peace. You have to figure it out what that is. It could take time, that's fine. But spend that time, that what gives you pleasure, what gives you happiness. Then start doing it more. To that extent that you're like, kuch zyada hi ho raha hai. But kuch zyada nahi ho raha hai, ultimately it will gonna come back to you. So once I got the first Indian Women Educator of the Year award, I felt really good. Then I thought, okay, one part done. I proved something. Then of course, but that doesn't, took away the other aspect of it. So I adapted in the other mantra. Look good, feel good, and do good. What I mean by that is, I can't do anything about my complexion, right? I'm still that dark, dusky, whatever you want to call it. Those scars, then I bought a very expensive foundation, which can, like you just cannot see right now. I just look pretty right now. So you have to figure it out how you can remove that. I can't do anything complexion, but then yes, can I do something about those scars? Then that foundation did the click. And I came to know that, of course, my dressing sense was not that as good. I would wear only browns and grays because I feel that I have to look sophisticated and all that 9 yards. So I picked, and I was not having good dressing sense, which I used to hear from others too, including my own hubby, who's very perfectionist. So he's like, what I did was, there's brochures were coming in the, you get in the mall brochures. So I thought that there is some designer who have obviously put these nice combination of these girls and models and all, right? So I would circle them and go to the mall and say, I want exactly this because this looks good. So for the next presentation or for the next even status reporting meeting, I'm going to wear this. So I circled it when I got that dress, and literally when I looked in the mirror, because you saw that model in that, somehow that self-development books that I read, it literally worked. Because you looked that model in that outfit and you wore that outfit, trust me, what song went in my mind? Tu hai dil ki rani, tu hai, main hu hawa hawai. somehow that thing went in that. And I loved that feeling. I loved that feeling that, wow, Preeti, you look good. And just that feeling that you look good, that made me feel good. And that feel good, I actually presented so well in that presentation. I myself was like surprised that, okay, I did not prepare that much, but I'm glad, I'm happy. Okay, I'll take that. So that, this combination, I tried different ways, do good, because I know I just showed that I just shared that I do the empowerment. So I started doing more of empowerment sessions. That doing good made me feel good. When I felt good, I look good, because nobody would judge you from that perspective. I'm the Georgia Cultural Coordinator here for a non-profit organization where we empower underprivileged students. And the more I do it, I guess I'm just trying to share that other people, then they stop seeing you from that perspective. In fact, you just change your mindset that you are good, Preeti. Whenever you look in the mirror, I do not see anything else except that you look beautiful. And that's what I want you to do. So earlier, in the school time, when the music teacher would say, you are not good, never mind, side. Because it's just that I was not confident, right? In the dance, no boy would dance with me. First of all, I was so like 5'6" that time. And no, there was no boy taller than me, so I will not get the chance. I will have to become a boy. I never get a chance to become a girl in the school time in those ones. I started working on that wish list that I'm going to do it all. So now I actually participate in all those dance cultural competition, howsoever it is, just to make me feel good, which allows me to do good. So you have to take a step towards that. So do you think when I go back now to my in-laws' place or any other place, wherever I heard that it changed? No. Last year itself, when I went, I touched the feet of like some distant in-law, mother-in-law, and she's like, "Arey, ये क्या बना कर रखा है हाथ तुमने अपने फेस का?" मतलब कुछ और फिर ये क्या हो गया, मतलब ये मतलब size भी obviously I had this hormonal changes, I increased, so obviously some comments on that. So do you, before that, somehow, because I said I was in the identity crisis, I would cry. It just would make my eyes wet. That's all I can say. Nam ho jati thi aankhein. But this time nahi hui. Because in an instant, I thought it's an irony. At 35 years of age, I realized that it's not how good you look, it's how you make other person feel good. That matters in the life. Remember the last time you have got your heart hurt, or you didn't get the job, or you didn't get the promotion, when you went and shared with your best friend, do you really think that you went to her because how good she looks? You went, and when she said, "Arey, never mind, ye tere liye tha hi nahi," right? ये जॉब तेरे लिए वर्कआउट नहीं होती, वैसे भी घर में बहुत प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, लेकिन some of the other things these best friends tell you, and then you just feel good. That's what you remember. That's why you go to her again. And to anyone, just think of any other last one which you had where you felt somebody made you feel good. Don't you feel that you remember more than how good that person felt or what kind of dress that person was wearing that day? I don't think so. I would only remember how good you felt. So I felt that if somebody has not realized it at 60 years of age, that is their problem, not mine. So I just switched again my thought process, my attitude, right? And then I was happy-go-lucky. And since I was happy-go-lucky, the other person does not have. And even if they have something to say, I have my remote control back of my emotions. I am not going to give it to them or to anybody, right? So I guess I can go on and on this topic because this topic is so dear to my heart. And just my best friend daughter, when she told me that, somebody rejected her and now she don't want to pursue her studies and and all that, it's like, literally, seriously, You can't let that happen. You can't. I can't have another Preeti go for next 15 years like that. I want you to take that pause, figure it out what your strengths are, work on your weaknesses, and tell yourself in the mirror that you look good. You are awesome. Today, also, when I dressed up, guess what? I asked mirror, 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 who's beautiful? Of course, what the mirror said, because I looked eye to eye. It said, you are awesome. You are ready to rock and roll. You are beautiful, Preeti. And that, even if it doesn't say to you, I want you to fake it. Fake it till you make it. That's all I guess I would close my session with this, that I want you to love yourself because, and that's another thing I'm going to share with you, that even if in that college first year, nobody proposed, this 40 years of age, I would get after the conferences a line of some people taking the business cards, that too from the chief executives. In fact, one chief executive said, okay, can I marry you? I was like, okay, no, I'm married. I was like, well, if you were, then if being you smart, then I would have had smart babies. I would loved that compliment. I accepted that. I did not say, oh no, you should not say that. You should say that. Of course I'm smart. Of course, life would have been wonderful with me. But sorry. So accept the compliments, accept what somebody is saying to you, that you have this beautiful eyes, or whatever that is. If it's academically, you're very good at maths. So work towards that. See what profession would work for you then. So I guess at the end, love yourself, because when you do that, trust me, the entire universe comes to you and starts loving you, gives you opportunities to be chosen. It's you who you have to decide what I'm going to tell to the universe. Love me or love me not. I tell to love me. And that's what I want you to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Preeti, for such a stimulating session. And I hope our students will use your suggestions for deciding their future decisions and choices. And your talk seemed to provide much needed help to our students. Thank you once again. Now we'll start with our question answers, and we have received a few questions. The first question is,
before I do that, I just want to give thank you to Miss Hemlata and the entire team who have organized it, because connecting to women, connecting to girls is something I'm very, very passionate about. So giving just this opportunity is such a honor for me. So I am happy to be here and making me part of this. So I'm thankful to the entire team also, because it takes a lot to organize this. So kudos to all the volunteers, and thank you so much, Ms. Hemlata, and thank you, Pooja, for recommending.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. Preeti. The first question goes to Dr. Hazari by Adya. She's asking, apart from your academic obstacles, have you faced any gender biases in the field of research? First question is this, and it also has a second question attached to it. What advice would you like to give to students willing to go for research as a career?
Hi, Adya. Very nice question. Because when you go into research, then definitely, you are, and though in DRDO, Defense, which is a Defense Institute. So you'll face I will not say that gender biasness is there. Only thing that is biased, that if you're not knowledgeable, if you're not scientifically sound, then obviously you will be, there are a lot of difficulties or obstacles you're going to face. So I was better than most of the males that were there at our department, or I would say that because I'm in a women forum. So, and through science, I could stop them. Like anybody, used to say that, now I will, tell you the other part of the coin that Preeti has said. So I used to be, she's beautiful. She might not be having any brains.
then. It's
So
a
this is
mentality.
the other part of the coin. So what I would like to highlight here, that it is not easy to be beautiful also, you know. So people think you take you lightly, that she must not be having any brains. She's beautiful. She can go by her face and all that. So no, when I, you know, started speaking in a forum, like started speaking about science, then they definitely, you know, used to know, no, she is a scientific person. She is going to have some spark in her. And then I really used to feel that way. That's a compliment for me. If somebody talking about my science, so because I'm passionate about science. So somebody talking about my science, that give me more pleasure, more, you know, more satisfaction. So anybody, you know, commenting on my beauty, I really don't pay attention to it, because it is a, you know, beauty fades away with age. This is my thinking. So it never, you know, it never comes in your, if you are strong enough in your profession, I don't think it will come into your, you know, path of success, or where you want to be at the summit. You will be at the summit if you are passionate about your, you know, subject, or oriented towards your goals that you have created for yourself. And you have to do your self motivation for that matter. You know, when you are self motivated, you know that this is my goal and I have to achieve it, then you definitely is going to achieve that. So gender biasness, luckily I have not faced anywhere in my department. It is a very cordial department, because it's a defense institute, so very well decorum is maintained there. And I've been given equal opportunities to do everything. Like I used to run the cyclotron also. Otherwise, you know, cyclotron running, firing a cyclotron, it is a, you know, somebody, if somebody thinks that no, it's a male job, no. So we are a, you know, women scientists in our department. We are we are 5 to 6 female scientists over there. We are running the cyclotron, and we are making the drug molecules. We are giving them for the injection into the patient for the clinical application. So there we feel like we everybody says that when DCRS, Division of Cyclotron and Radiopharmaceutical Sciences, we have 6 female scientists and 1 male scientist. Whenever, you know, we like whenever we are there, yes, everybody recognizes they are from DCRS. They're so like, you know, women empowerment हमेशा example दिया जाता है DCRS का. So we are that way. I'm very blessed. I'm very fortunate that I never faced this kind of biasness in my profession. And another question was?
And the next part was, what advice would you like to give to students willing to go for research as a career?
Yeah, research as a career. Yeah, that's research as a career, because I have, you know, I've got very good opportunities after doing the research. Though, you know, in the family also, you are sometimes you don't set your career goals, but they also, you know, your relatives particularly, they set your career goals. Like now, when you have to get married, when you have to get not even the parents, all the relatives, you know, they will say, okay, now MSc is done. I think she has cleared qualified net. Now she will be the lecturer in some college, and now I think it's the right time to do the let her settle. मतलब हमेशा लड़कियों को ये बोला जाता है कि settle हो जाती है जब शादी हो जाती है तो settle हो जाती है. It's not like that. So whenever, you know, you're done with the lectureship, my father was like adamant, she want to do PhD, she will do PhD. After that, we'll see when she is going to be married. So again, my parents were very supportive in that one. So research is something which is, I'm really passionate about it. So I got the career opportunities as well. So there are a lot of career opportunities even in the psychology. If I see, our field really wants psychologists to enter into it, because neurodegenerative disorders nowadays, there are a lot of, you know, we are getting a lot of reports of neurodegenerations, Alzheimer disease at a very young age, even Parkinson's. We have scanned so many Parkinson patients that would have, you know, could be the better therapeutic could be done through the psychologist also. So our society, even in India, they are not very much into like going to a psychologist or a career coach as such. So to have a good effect of the, like, whatever therapy we are going to give to a person, its mental well-being should be will also be affected through the psychological part. So psychologists are very much required for this time being, because we are seeing many patients with the neurodegenerative disorders. We can see inside out what is happening in the brain at the molecular level. We can see, yes, this part is not working. We can see that, yeah, there is some fluctuation in the receptor in this side of the brain, but we could not say that how he or she is feeling, how he is going to respond to a therapy. When a person is not calm, he will not definitely is not going to respond to the therapy. When a person is aggressive, the amount of chemical receptors that they will be overexpressed, then again there is the effect on its therapy. So there are a lot of career options for the psychologist, I think, and opting a research career and seeing the public health challenges also is one of the main area where the humanities can do wonders. Public health challenges and implementation of the policies, they could be the policy makers, right? And implementation of the right policy at the right time on the humanitarian grounds. So this is also required. So humanities also, if you take research career as opportunity, I could see that you will definitely going to help uh, in the public health challenges, and in the even in the treatment, in the correct treatment of a patient with neurodegenerative disorders. So I could see that way. So I'm not seeing right now, but I'm seeing in the future that it is going to be that there should be some interconnection or something with the science and humanity should be done. And also there is one course that I have seen that they have already started in US or some European countries, public health challenge humanities in public health challenges. So this is the way that we can also adopt, where we can make a change in the whole society, and thereby we can improve the now you can also see there are a lot of suicide cases are also coming up, even them who are well settled, who are maybe you can see in the news also. So these things are coming up in a large scale, I would say that. And lockdown also has increased its probability of getting these, and during the lockdown we have also seen there are a lot of cases, neurodegenerative cases are coming up. So there is a need, there is a definitely a need of humanities and psychologists to be a part of the science. Now it is the right time to, even the government should also implement these kind of changes in the policy making, and involve everyone for the betterment of the nation. And this is I want to say.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja. We have we have a lot of questions which are there in the chat box, but we are very sorry that because of time constraint, we will not be taking all of them. But yes, definitely, Miss Preeti, this question which I feel is very relevant for students to understand is from Kanchan Rathore. What matters the most, satisfaction or money making? If satisfaction, how to make yourself believe that you're doing good?
Yes, satisfaction. There is absolutely no doubt about that, because by default, let me tell you one more. I know it's a story, but I have to make it very quick. There is a Harvard study done. They studied from the people from 19 years old to 91 years old for 25 years, for entire time. And it's been going on from like more than 50 plus years. And what matters most at the end, they started with money, success goals, and all that thing. But what matters most after, when the life was ending, is meaningful relationships, is your happiness. So I would want you to, everything, whether it's your personal or professional, create that meaningful relationships, create those automatically. That has a rippling effect of us to success. And I'm not saying it, I actually did it, right? All these things which I'm sharing with you, and the whole reason to share with you is because if Preeti can do it, then you can too.
Awesome, Preeti, awesome. And so thank you for such an inspirational journey which you have taken us through. how you had faced dilemmas, and how you had faced that negativity around you, and you had overcome that thing. It's a wonderful journey which you have shared with us, and I'm sure students have really learned a lot how to overcome negativity around them and to proceed further in their life. We would like to close this session by I'm for over to you, Hemlata, for the vote of thanks, and your feedback form will be activated after this session gets over. Over to you, Hemlata. Thank you so much. Hemlata, unmute yourself.
Sorry, I didn't realize that. Thank you, Pooja. Dear distinguished speakers, Principal Ma'am, colleagues, invitees, and students, a very pleasant evening to all of you. It was over 250 years ago that Catherine the Great said, I beg you to take courage. The brave soul can mend even disasters. Inspiring words by a great woman. And they sum up the intention of the workshop, that is, to motivate and inspire young students of our college to move on in spite of challenges. All good things come to an end, and so is this workshop today. It's the third day and the last day of the 3-day interdisciplinary workshop on women achievers, organized by the Department of Psychology, Philosophy, and Physical Education in association with the IQAC of the college. The event has truly been an enriching one, thanks to all the speakers we had. On behalf of the organizing team and my own behalf, I take this opportunity to propose the vote of thanks to those who have directly and indirectly contributed to the workshop. I express my sincere gratitude to our esteemed speakers, Dr. Pooja Hazari, Ms. Preeti Tanwar, Ms. Manu Bhakar, for accepting our invitation to impart invaluable life lessons to our students. Dr. Hazari, you have so skillfully mapped the journey from a medical aspirant to a researcher, highlighting the issues and challenges. It was a great learning experience for us. Thank you for a truly insightful presentation. Thank you, Ms. Tanwar, for accepting our invitation to enlighten our students on the importance of self-esteem and define career goals when you were away in US in the early morning hours and in spite of your busy morning schedules. It was indeed a thought-provoking and impactful speech. Thank you so much. I would like to thank Ms. Bhakar in absentia. I think she had to leave because of training program. Her story was inspirational and exemplary. We all applauded her achievement. It was really, it just told us the importance of hard work and persistence to achieve excellence. Thank you. I would really thank her for sharing her experiences, incredible experiences, I would say, today with all of us. I'm sure it motivated us all. Our principal, ma'am, Dr. Harpreet Kaur, you have been our guiding light, giving us insightful suggestions throughout. You foster a sense of support and appreciation, which allows us to put our best foot forward. Our sincerest gratitude to you, ma'am, for always encouraging us with your warm words. Thank you, Dr. Lokesh Kumar Gupta, IQAC Coordinator, for your expert opinion and taking keen initiatives and discussions for making this event happen. I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Lakshmi Vatsa, Dr. Harjinder Kaur, and all the members of Psychology, Philosophy, and Physical Education Department for their invaluable support and cooperation. The entire credit for the success of the workshop is due to the teamwork so excellently exhibited by my team, the organizing secretaries, Dr. Sarabjit Kaur, Ms. Charanjit Kaur, my fellow convener, Dr. Pooja Vadhavan, who as constant companions provided a solid support without which the event wouldn't have been possible. The event has become truly a memorable one, personally as well as academically, thanks to cheerful and active participation by you all. Thanks a ton. Ms. Pranka, Ms. Sangeeta, Ms. Kirandeep, Ms. Gursharan, our technical and support team, your team colleagues, your efforts made possible flawless conduct of the event. Your zeal, passion, and above all, your patience to deal with our important and sometimes not so important requirements has contributed significantly to the success of the event. I would like to make special mention of Sardar Manjeet Singh ji and Ms. Gurleen, together with all non-teaching staff members, for providing administrative support. Their hard work and sincere work we appreciate with gratitude. I may not take any more of your valuable time of yours, but my task will remain incomplete unless I thank you all. all the invitees, my colleagues, my guests, my dear students, for taking out valuable time and gracing the event with your presence. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Hemlata. Can we have a photo session now?